I watched the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, the first one from 2020, and honestly, as non spoilerly as I could say it in the very beginning, I enjoyed it, and I think it is a really fun movie, and it does adaptation of a video game very well without being overbearing in a lot of ways. And I enjoyed most of the characters, and honestly, it's a very, first of all, it's a very good setup as well for the next movies, though I guess when the movie first came out, we didn't know if there was going to be more movies or not, depending on how well it did. But now that we know, obviously, that there's at least three of them, a fourth coming on the way, that obviously they did well in terms of actually people going out to see it, in terms of planning the stories as well. And I can't wait to watch the next ones as well. I'll be watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at some point as well too. And we're going to go more in depth to talk about it, but this is going to be your spoiler warning. I'm going to be talking about the movie in depth and talking about obviously spoilers, talking about the ending, talking about the characters, talking about any surprises and or things I thought were good or bad. So this is your spoiler warning. And if you enjoyed this type of video, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm and lets me know if you enjoy this type of content. So, starting with the fact that it starts perfectly in a way of a Sonic movie where it starts in exactly the action with the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog, he just starts narrating it and then says, whoa, maybe I'm going a little too fast, let's back it up. And then he does the whole backwards thing as well that basically every kid has done at some point. I feel like at least the kid that grew up with Sonic, because it is a 90s thing and early 2000s, so it really makes sense for him to do that. And I really like the inclusion of the Green Hill Zone, because that's level 1 for Sonic, the Green Hill Zone. I'm curious who the creatures were that attacked Sonic. I'm sure, or maybe they are more delved into in the sequels, but I'm curious what they are because I don't remember those being a thing in the games. And I do have to admit, and when it comes to Sonic, while I am a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, I am mostly a fan of a few of the games and not really the most recent ones, because basically after Sonic 06, I really stopped paying attention in Sonic. And while I do enjoy the Sonic games, I really kind of stopped playing them after that because I grew up with the Dreamcast. So Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 were the games I played a lot of. And then even when it was multi-platform, I played Sonic Unleashed a lot as well. And I actually was one of the people that really enjoyed the Werehog stuff. So I'm maybe slightly out of date when it comes to the Sonic the Hedgehog lore or what that stuff is, but I'm assuming the movie is taking its own take on this stuff, and I'm assuming it's also not considered canon for the games, obviously. So assuming that they're trying to do their own take, I'm curious what the beginning creatures are. The owl raising Sonic, very nice, very cool. It feels like it's a nod to Sonic Underground. I can't remember if there was an owl in Sonic Underground or not. I can't remember if they ever talked about who raised Sonic as a kid. But it's really interesting. Very sad that they die, of course. And I'm interested to see where they go with the ring, because the rings are like teleportation devices, but seemingly also help power up Sonic a little bit. But the speed in Sonic is innate powers for Sonic, which is interesting. I like that take on that, because we've seen other ring takes where like they give him powers or something like that. I remember in Sonic X, they basically gave him better versions of himself, almost like a Chaos Emerald. And funny enough, one thing that I'm very surprised about, just to say overall, I am surprised that basically there were no Chaos Emeralds. Unless I missed something, which to be fair, I only have watched the movie once. It feels like there was no mentions of Chaos Emeralds ever, which is really cool, honestly. I really like the fact that they focused more the fact that Sonic was alone and just wants friends, and his happy-go-lucky attitude is kind of like a shield for being really lonely when he was on Earth and in the Green Hill town. And I do love that the town is called Green Hill. It's very good, very makes sense, very nice. And I also just love the fact that while it is technically a origin story, they don't take too much time in explaining things a lot with narration. They kind of just show and instead of telling. Because like when they introduce Eggman, he's already a genius. He works for the government. He's already established as a weirdo, which is very good. And he's already got that weird personality. And I love that Jim Carrey is Eggman. He plays it very well. It's really good. And obviously, I know what happens to him eventually. But I love that they didn't spend too much time also doing an origin story for Dr. Robotnik or Eggman, or honestly, some of the other characters as well. I am slightly, I guess, annoyed and or concerned that they spent a lot of time with the two human characters, the policeman and his wife. Unfortunately, I literally can't even remember his name right now, and I feel like I definitely should. But I'm not saying that they're bad characters. It's just like, I'm here for Sonic, and I get it. You do need, it's a live action movie. You do need these real life characters as well. When I was watching the Mario movie, I wasn't really interested in when he was doing the Brooklyn stuff at the very beginning, when they're doing the plumbing stuff. Well, it was kind of interesting, but like, I'm similar in this where I'm not here for the human stuff. There's a lot of good gags and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm here for Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's be real here. And his fight between Dr. Robotnik. So it is kind of unfortunate, but I don't blame the movie or the actors for that. That's just a me personal thing, because I can take or leave the other human characters. I do like Agent Stone. I think he plays a bigger role in the other Sonic the Hedgehog movies. I don't actually remember if he does or not, but I also followed him on Twitter and stuff, so I am slightly biased towards him. And he also, at least in the beginning, was very down with the Sonic stuff, and he really enjoyed his role, and I'm glad that happened in this movie. It's also interesting that they never do actually explain Dr. Robotnik's technology. He's just a super genius, and he's just in there. It's interesting that everything else is regular in terms of the technology, except for Dr. Robotnik, except for Eggman's technology, which is interesting. To be fair, that is kind of always been the case in any Sonic game, movie, TV show, anything. Dr. Robotnik's technology and his genius has always been a thing, so that makes sense. But I'm curious why his technology isn't more wider spread. Probably because of himself, Dr. Eggman, being who he is. And it looks like he's at least in the first movie, part of the government, so it is definitely under wraps with his drone technology. And I do love the drone technology. It's very Eggman. I think that technology is great. I love the missile fights that they do with Sonic, and how without the blue piece of hair, it would be such an easy fight for Sonic, because of how fast he is, and he can literally break the sound barrier, of course. I am curious if the EMP that he does is like him breaking the sound barrier, or if it's just part of his powers, which is interesting to see. Once again, I don't remember them explaining that, but maybe I'm getting distracted by the action scenes and the cool Sonic moments rather than them talking about why Sonic can do that. I'm not complaining that Sonic can do that, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool that Sonic has all these powers, and I was never really in doubt that Sonic wouldn't be able to beat him, of course, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog and it's overall a kid's movie. It's a family movie. So obviously Sonic's going to win. But like, I'm curious if they ever or will ever talk about what Sonic's powers actually are. Or will they actually define them in any way. I do also like the fact that the little girl gives him his shoes, which the shoes that Sonic is known for, the red and white shoes. It's really nice. I'm also curious if the Mushroom World is a nag onto Mario. I don't actually know if it is or not. I couldn't really figure it out. I can't tell if they're trying to joke about the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario and stuff like that, or if this is just a thing in the movies that they wanted to do so Eggman can come back crazy and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'm not entirely sure, honestly, but it does make sense within the world, and I think Sonic not liking mushrooms is a thing. I remember him not liking mushrooms in something else as well. So I am glad. I also really, even though, I was criticizing the human characters, I do love that the cop's wife was very calm and like sort of okay with it. Oh, I say calm in some ways, in terms of just being okay with the fact that Sonic is there and just helping them. But to be fair, it is also one of those things where like they're just nice people and they just want to help because Sonic overall isn't a threat to them. He shows no hostile intent towards them, which makes a lot of sense. for a lot of people. If something isn't hostile, generally people are okay with it. I do also love near the very end when they do the whole the government guy coming back to the house and them saying, hey, thank you for not talking about the thing that totally didn't happen, because that would 100% happen. I mean, that happens in real life with obviously stuff that happens with the government and all that type of stuff, no matter what. But it is kind of funny to show that they are saying like, hey, I'm also very curious. I wonder if the Olive Garden was one of the backers, or like did they have some product placement involvement. It wouldn't surprise me because they mentioned the Olive Garden at least like 2 or 3 times very blatantly, so I'm curious if that was actually like one of the funding partners or something like that. But overall, I feel like the movie did really well of showing Sonic, and I think honestly that is the best part of the movie. It shows Sonic being Sonic, of how happy-go-lucky he is, the carefree attitude, and just, I hate to say it because I feel like it's a bad way to explain it, but just being Sonic the Hedgehog. And I also am glad that he's not like edgy or cool. Like obviously I'm sure if they ever introduce Shadow, I actually don't know if they ever introduced Shadow honestly in the sequels. But for some reason Sonic had this cool edgy phase, I feel like, in media, and luckily, once again, family friendly movie, so he doesn't have any of that weird edge that I feel like they put on Sonic for a while. But I am glad that he's back to his happy-go-lucky stuff. And, you know, I've been talking about it. Sonic does look good in the movie itself. And, you know, we also had that controversy when it first came out about what original Sonic looked like. And then they made him look like this, which is great. I'm glad he looks like this. His fur looks good. His gloves look good. His eyes look good. Everything about him looks good. And I also really love the blue line of him running around and the blur stuff that they do with him. I'm very glad that they nailed that really well, because I mean obviously that's really quintessential Sonic, of him running fast, obviously. And I'm glad that they managed to nail that fact and make him feel so much faster than everyone else in the movie. And obviously Dr. Robotnik's, or Dr. Eggman's, final spaceship thing really makes it feel like the egg circle thing that he always flies in the games and the other shows, while it's still being its own thing, obviously. I mean, it does get destroyed at the end of the movie when he gets sent to the Mushroom Land, but I am curious to see if that egg carrier thing that he always is in comes in the sequel. And one of the big questions I have is at the near the end, before the final fight or before the final scene, when the blue lightning and stuff like that hits Sonic after the guy says he's my friend, and he's like, oh yeah, the power of friendship, because, you know, kids movie, or family movie, I should say. Was Sonic actually dead there? I feel like he wasn't actually dead. He was probably just knocked out or something like that, and then hearing that he has a friend finally like kicks in and activates his powers again or something like that, because he doesn't know how to really control it feels like. I mean, he accidentally causes the EMP blast, which causes Dr. Robotnik to even be involved, right? So he doesn't really understand his powers. So it does kind of make sense that hearing the friend would like pump him up and stuff like that to actually activate the powers and cause him to like come back basically at full strength, and then be able to defeat Eggman and push him into the Mushroom World. And the nod of Sonic living with the two human friends that he has made is really nice. I'm glad about it. The stuff with the dog is also amazing. Love it. Perfect thing. Funny enough, I feel like in other Sonic media as well that he always has this weird thing with dogs, where dogs constantly lick him and stuff like that, and he always has either problems and or, you know, a situationship with the dog, in terms of being friends with the dog and the dog not fully understanding what he is but totally being okay with it. I feel like that happens in Sonic X. I can't remember if that is true or not. I do love Eggman gets his full mustache and bald head at the very end, and you can tell that he's also getting fatter somehow in the final scenes, because Eggman is skinny in basically the whole movie, and when he's in the mushroom place, it seems that he is getting fatter somehow, which is interesting, probably because he's eating the mushrooms or something like that, because I mean, what else are you going to eat there? And he's got the goggles, obviously, the Eggman goggles, the mustache is really good. And obviously he's slowly going insane because of the mushroom world and whatever stems of that's happening, because, you know, he's eating the mushrooms or whatever. And of course the very final nod of Tails coming out saying he must be here, or the tracker says he's here. I do like that. I'm glad Tails is obviously the second character. Tails always needs to be the second character. Obviously, I've been spoiled of like Knuckles eventually becoming a thing and Shadow obviously becoming a thing eventually as well. Sorry, I think in the earlier the video I said I don't know. I do know Shadow is there eventually. I was thinking of other characters like Rogue or Rouge and all the 400 other characters that are associated with Sonic. It'll be interesting to see how far they go. I mean, obviously, we know Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is coming, so I wonder if this is going to be ending it off or not. It'll be interesting to see. I'm honestly quite excited to see the sequel for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It'll be really cool to see like how it goes and how it evolves. I am, once again, it's a love-hate relationship between human characters and Sonic the Hedgehog because when I first watched Sonic X as a teenager, because I didn't watch it when it first came out, I saw reruns of it. I really didn't care. Like, I really didn't care about the human characters and stuff like that. I just wanted to see Sonic and his friends beat up Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman, depending on where you're from. So it's interesting to see that in the movies there's still these human characters, but at least they're not annoying kids, I guess. They're adults. So that's something. And the adults are good in the ways that they are good. Obviously, the human guy doesn't, like, he helps Sonic a lot in a lot of ways, but he just helps him because he sees the make a true friend type of thing or feels bad about it and stuff like that. So I am glad that, like, the human characters are good, but I'm interested to see how far the human characters are. I don't actually remember if or Agent Stone is in the sequels or not. I actually don't remember. It'd be kind of funny if he just is never added again, but I'm pretty sure he is. I can't remember if he is or is not. Funny enough. But overall, I feel like all those things made it so I really enjoyed the Sonic movie. Like I said, some of the bad things for me were like, I don't really care about the human characters, but even though I personally don't like them, I think they still did well in the acting and the writing and all that type of stuff for the human characters. I still thought they did a good job in establishing the important human characters and stuff like that. And personally, I think obviously the reason I enjoyed it so much is because they did Sonic very well. The person who voiced him is amazing, and Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman is great and is amazing, and I'm glad that they got him to do it because he played it perfectly. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you like this type of content, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it lets me know if you enjoyed these types of videos. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Once again, let me know. Comment down below if you enjoyed the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie or if you watched this one, didn't watch the sequels, have watched them. Let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to support me directly, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/thetechnojelly. You join all of these nice people in the credits as they're going across the screen, and you can participate in a once a month live stream, which you can vote on what we do, and we can chat and do all that good things over on Patreon. If you'd like to support super directly, I have an affiliate code with poggers.shop linked in the description. Use code TechnoJelly for 10% off any purchase. They do hydration mixes, energy drink mixes, and sleep aid mixes, as well as shaker cups. I've tried them all. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed them. So get 10% off using my code TechnoJelly at checkout. And if you'd like to follow me on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.